Alright, hello all you beautiful internet people, and welcome back to the Nicholas R. Cicada Review. Let's get right into it.
Next, the Invaders in color.
I'd like to let you know that this video is sponsored by Nicholas Comics, some of the greatest comics being put out today, especially the best comics in the Denver area. One of the finest mail-order comic companies in operation today. We guarantee a satisfactory customer experience and a smooth process from start to finish. You won't go wrong if you buy some Nicholas Comics. Right now, they got a special deal going on. 2% off if you use the code Nicholas520 at checkout. So if you're interested in supporting the channel and supporting all that, then get out your envelope and address it to Nicholas Cicada, 1424 Columbine Street, number 1, Denver, Colorado, 80206. Thanks to Nicholas Comics for that sponsorship. Epic brand deal. Whoop whoop.
The Invaders.
I got a tinfoil hat here. I don't know if this meme is dead or not, but, you know. Anywho, I don't have enough foil to make a whole hat. This is all that was left in the Reynolds wrap I rolled, but, you know, not enough to wrap food either, so there's much of waste. Keep it up there. Anyway, today's video is about The Invaders. A 60s show, which I think gets overlooked a lot. It's kind of forgettable, very passable, and more often than not, it's confused with good movies like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. There's an entire subgenre of science fiction about aliens that disguise themselves to look like people. There's Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the original. There's the remake with Leonard Nimoy and the guy who goes, the original PogChamp, of course. And there's the highly underrated flick It Came From Outer Space, which despite the schlocky exterior is actually pretty good. Apparently it's based on a story written by Ray Bradbury, and it stars the professor from Gilligan's Island, and the makeup on the alien is just really nice. Then, of course, you've got the absolutely bonkers 90s movie, The Arrival, with Charlie Sheen, where, believe it or not, he tries to play a nerd who also has 3 indistinguishable ex-girlfriends and wives. Not to be confused with The Good Arrival. This is The Arrival from the 90s. But that said, there are a lot of movies in this genre of, you know, the invasion beginning with aliens that are able to mimic human behavior. So Invasion of the Body Snatchers is really good. But The Invaders is a show that tries to capitalize on that trend, ride the wave, you know, get that invader clout, if there is such a thing. It's a Quinn Martin joint. Quinn Martin being behind The Fugitive, one of the greatest crime shows of all time, about Richard Kimball traveling around the country as he hunts for the one-armed man and tries to escape from the police. The Fugitive is a really good show. You know, and I'm not going to say the movie is bad. The movie is good too, but it's just a very interesting concept that hadn't been done before at the time. You know, back in those days with Dragnet, Highway Patrol, God forbid, Car 64, where are you? No, Car 54 or whatever. You know, there weren't that many shows where you had the police be the bad guy. So that's why The Fugitive is really you know, groundbreaking. And, you know, the police aren't the main bad guy. The one-armed man is the bad guy. But, you know, just to have a show like that where the criminal, or the perceived criminal as the good guy, was absolutely hype for the 1960s. And The Fugitive is a very well-written show with just a crazy amount of character progression. You know, it's a good show. So Quinn Martin does that, and then he thinks, what if I made The Fugitive, but with aliens? And the result is The Invaders, which really wants to be The Fugitive, but it doesn't work because because it lacks everything the Fugitive had going for it. So the plot of The Invaders is that there's invaders. There was also an episode of the New Outer Limits with this plot, which is really good. I suggest it's called Birthright. But the plot of The Invaders is that, there's aliens, they land, and they look just like humans, and they gotta go into these regeneration chambers to maintain their human appearance. It's basically just pods, like in an Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I'd say John Carpenter's The Thing belongs to this subgenre as well. It's the same plot as all these other ones. They're coming out around the same time, so it doesn't have that much going for it to begin with. But on top of that, it doesn't even have an ending. The Fugitive, when it ended, when Richard Kimball catches up with the one-armed man and clears his name, that's a groundbreaking moment in TV history. I will say a lot of shows in the 60s didn't really know how to put a final episode together. You got Gilligan's Island as a good example. In the first episode, they get to the island. So in the last episode, you'd think they get off the island. It makes sense, But there's no episode of Gilligan's Island where they get off the island. It just ends with, Gilligan getting a flight helmet or something. Just the least satisfying final episode of a TV show you could possibly have. And nowadays, it's understood that, the last episode of a TV show is, something to worry about, to go out with a bang on. But back then, this wasn't really understood, So to have The Fugitive start with Richard Kimball, having his name dirtied by, being implicated in the murder of his wife, and then the end to have his name cleared. Millions watched this finale. Everyone, it was the original hype sensation. It cannot be overstated how big the final episode of The Fugitive was. It was a big deal. Everyone was hyped to see Richard Kimball clear his name. So The Invaders has a similar premise, except it deals with a conspiracy theorist named David Vincent. He's not really a conspiracy theorist, but everyone sees him as a whack job, and much like Richard Kimball, he's on the run, and he's going from place to place and trying to make people believe, why can't you see everyone's an alien? Or not everyone's an alien, but in every episode, there's one or two guys that are an alien. Just everywhere, and they're never noticed. One of the traits of the aliens is that they don't have a heartbeat, and they don't bleed. So you'd think that with all these aliens going around, and they don't have a heartbeat, and they don't bleed, right? You'd think that all David Vincent would need to do is carry around a stethoscope with him, and when he gets to the next group of people, he's like, hey, can I listen to your heartbeat? And they'd be like, heck yeah, sure. I have a stethoscope. They're not hard to get. They're easy to get. And they work really good. You just put it on. It's like, boom, 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 boom. It's easy. But David Vincent never thinks of this, except once or twice. He's like, hey, what if we listen to the heartbeat to tell if you were an alien? Yeah, just do that all the time, man. It's not difficult. There's always got to be a way to tell the human and the alien apart. In The Thing, it's the blood. And that can be more difficult, if the only way to tell apart is, when you burn the blood, is it a, that takes some work to, go around slicing everyone's finger and demanding they give you a blood sample. That's hard, But these aliens don't have a heartbeat. Just carry a stethoscope with you, for God's sakes. It's not difficult. That'd be one easy way to stop the alien invasion immediately, is if David Vincent can just go up to one of the aliens in front of a room of people and be like, hey, can I hear your heartbeat? And then everyone's like, oh shit, this guy doesn't have a heartbeat. Easiest thing in the world to convince people. And the reason The Thing and Invasion of the Body Snatchers and all this work is because they're movies. They're 2 hours, 2 hours. You can have an easy alien invasion storyline. Aliens land, they take the form of humans, they start reproducing or whatever, and the lone hero is like, I'm gonna save humanity, and either they do or they don't, and then, it ends. And, it usually ends with the alien getting blown up, or the alien going back, or, the humans fending the alien off. Easy stuff, right? But The Invaders is like so many episodes. I mean, it's only 2 seasons, but just the sheer scope of it and the sheer stupidity of it. In every episode, David Vincent starts over as if none of the previous adventures happened. He just goes somewhere. He's like, hey, there are aliens, and then he leaves, and then nothing that happened in the previous episodes matter. Even though there's all these aliens going around, which, mind you, unlike with Invasion of the Body Snatchers, where these aliens take over the bodies of humans that already exist, the aliens in The Invaders just pretend to be humans that didn't exist before they landed. So I don't know where they're getting all their social security numbers and driver's licenses and IDs and stuff. That'd really be just a feat to pull off. Just, hey, you remember me? I'm so and so, and the humans are like, who? I'm so and so. And you might say, oh, it was the 60s, it wasn't as easy to track people back then. Like shit it was, Like, you don't just have people pop up at random and nobody question it, and they have no, photos or pictures of them as kids, just these full-grown adults just frickin' popping into existence everywhere. People would notice. I mean, come on, it's not even subtle. Like, if these aliens frickin' reproduced via spore or something, that'd be kind of cool, but The Invaders is implausible. Just so many issues with the show. One of them is that the episode titles are really lame, like The Experiment or The Mutation. Just not descriptive about what happens in the episode at all. Like, any of them could be called The Mutation or The Experiment or Operation Coldplay, or, there's just these really stupid titles to all the episodes. But mainly the issue is that the premise doesn't make any sense. These aliens don't bleed. Now, there is a really interesting component of these aliens' existence, which is that if they get killed, they explode into ash, or they don't really explode, they just kind of singe and fry to a crisp, The only problem is that that's way more noticeable than just having a body there. Like, I guess the writers of The Invaders thought, oh, if the aliens just disappear after they die, then they won't be noticeable. But it's a lot more noticeable to just spontaneously combust than it is to just remain a dead body. I think the aliens would understand this. Like, the aliens aren't stupid, but they're kind of stupid. They have so much stuff that would just be a dead giveaway. Like, we're talking Greg levels. We're talking Greg levels here. We're talking Randy and Greg with this freaking alien invasion.
There's alien beings from a dying planet. Their destination, the Earth. Their purpose.
So it doesn't have an ending. There's no ending where David Vincent's like, yay, we beat the aliens. There's just, I guess in the last episode, he convinces a government official that, it's kind of happening, or it's happening, okay? Like, a movie that's 2 hours long is the largest amount of time. Like, say in movie, there's a progression of like a month. a month tops before people get that, yeah, it's an alien invasion going on. Like, obviously, there's only, aliens can only be so subtle, alright? Just a weird show. And again, it is trying to capitalize and bank off the success of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which is actually a really good movie. And the Wikipedia page for it says there's Cold War themes and, Cold War themes? What? You're reading too much into this. Invasion of the Body Snatchers has Cold War themes. Maple Street and Twilight Zone has Cold War themes. Who cares? It was made during the Cold War. Of course, it's going to have something to do, it's going to reflect the atmosphere of the time. That doesn't mean it has to be a garbage show. It's not even about the Cold War. They're just hokey, badly done aliens. The effects are lame. The titles are lame. I feel like I'm watching some low-budget schlock. I don't know. Admittedly, the premise is kind of interesting. It hadn't been done before. There was no weekly, alien TV show. But, the X-Files does it better. Men in Black does it better. There's Kolchak, the Night Stalker, which is just one of the greatest series I've ever seen. And the premise is kind of similar. It's about conspiracy theories and, hidden realities, and it's only like 7 episodes, which is a real letdown. Kolchak the Night Stalker is the good stuff. Like, everything about it is masterfully executed. But the Invaders just doesn't have that charm. David Vincent is the likable protagonist. Apparently, he gets divorced because he's going around and chucking out all this conspiracy nonsense, and everyone thinks he's insane. Even though nobody should think he's insane. There's a bunch of people walking around without a freaking heartbeat. So lame and so stupid. I guess if you're in the 60s and, I don't even think the show got good ratings in the 60s. Nobody liked it. It was a huge flop. And some people are like, well, it was influential for shows like The X-Files. Yeah, right. I think you could take this show out of the equation entirely, have it never have been produced, and nothing about science fiction would be different. That's how little impact it had. It has a familiar name. It sounds kind of like, oh, the Invaders. It sounds cool, but it's not cool. Every single episode is underwhelming and lame.
Convince a disbelieving world that the nightmare has already begun.
I just can't name a similar failure. I guess it has most in common with the Irwin Allen catalog, all these failed concepts and ideas that nobody knew how to execute properly, like the Time Tunnel, Land of the Giants, and but I just gotta say, it is in every way possible a failed show. And there is a little known remake that came out in the 90s, 2000 something, and it has, David Vincent, same guy, reprise his role as, oh man, I'm David Vincent, I'm gonna save the world from the aliens, and he teaches this new young protege. And it was like one episode, because nobody wanted to see this trash heap of a franchise continue any further, and that's definitely for the best. Nobody cares about the Invaders. It has one of the weakest premises, and nothing the characters do make any sense. It is just a bad idea all around. Like, The Fugitive is so good. I don't know how it being a Quinn Martin production it can be so bad, but it is, And it's kind of sad, but all things considered, I can't imagine the Invaders ever really doing anything noteworthy, because like the X-Files is concerned with keeping the aliens secret, which is a pretty hard thing to do. The same goes for Men in Black. it's hard to keep the alien secret. But the Invaders is about the exact opposite, trying to publicize the aliens and make their existence known. And, that's pretty easy, especially since none of the aliens have a heartbeat or bleed, and they all smoke up when they die like a firework going off, like freaking black snakes, those aren't hard aliens to figure out. Maybe this show has some appeal with conspiracy theorists or something. I don't think most conspiracy theorists have even heard of this show. It's not cool like the X-Files. It's not thought-provoking like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. It's just a really weak and weird cultural artifact from a time when pretty much any concept would make it onto air. But, is it worth watching? No. You'll see 30 episodes of David Vincent just not convincing anyone that there's aliens. And, sometimes they kill one or two aliens, but the humans are just so oblivious, and it is absolutely unbearable. It is just beyond, it's just whack. That's the best I can describe this show. It is a phenomenal failure on nearly every level. So that said, this has been the Nicholas Cater Review. And until next time, I guess that's about it. Conspiracy hats on, world. The aliens are among us.